I wanted to talk a little bbit about COP27. I know it's not everyone's favorite subject. It's not our, most favorite thing to discuss right now, but it is so important. There was a landmark kind of decision around, creating a fund to help pay for damages in countries that are bearing the brute, impact of climate change, which is paramount, which is important. But there's almost less commitment to 1.5 degrees Celsius now than there ever was before. It's so embarrassing that we just spend so many thousands of dollars, probably millions of dollars, sending our delegates around and talking and talking and talking. As Greta Thunberg boycotted this event, I guess Trudeau did as well by not going and only sending our environmental minister. But it's really sad to think about where this leads us. I was just watching a YouTube video called "The Scientist's Warning" by Oregon State University, and it talks a lot about this paper um, that was written, which I've got a link to in the description. It'll be on the post afterwards. But basically, um, the article is, talking about us being at Code Red. So just going to read a little excerpt here to kind of bring everyone up to speed. So we are now at Code Red on planet Earth. Humanity is unequivocally facing a climate emergency. The scale of the untold human suffering, already immense, is rapidly growing with the escalating number of climate-related disasters. Therefore, we urge scientists, citizens, and world leaders to read this special report and quickly take the necessary actions to avoid the worst effects of climate change. 2022 marks the 30th anniversary of the World Scientists' Warning to Humanity. Signed by more than 1,700 scientists in 1992, since the original warning, there's been roughly 40% increase in global greenhouse gas emissions. This is despite numerous written warnings from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change and recent scientists warning a climate emergency with nearly 15,000 signatories from 158 countries, which is ridiculous. Current policies are taking the planet onto around 3 degrees Celsius warming by 2100. That's when my son Rowan is 82 years old. That's not far out there. That's, maybe not my lifetime, but that's his. 3 degrees Celsius is a temperature level that Earth has not experienced over the past 3 million years. And the consequences of global heating are becoming increasingly extreme. The outcomes, such as global societal collapse, are plausible now and dangerously unexplored. Motivated by the moral urgency of this global crisis, here we track recent climate-related disasters, assess planetary vital signs, and provide sweeping policy recommendations. So I won't read the entire article here, but I really recommend that everyone does. There's sections on climate-related extreme weather, examples all around the world of what's going on, recent trends in the planetary vital signs. So that's human population, total fertility rate, ruminant livestock, all these different elements, super important to consider. The economics, the energy, global mean greenhouse gases and temperatures, climate impacts, climate policy, and a call to action. Now, this isn't a book. This isn't a 500-page, in-depth. This is made to be read by anyone. It's got very simple language. It's very obvious language. We're talking that our tipping point is 1.5 degrees Celsius. This article is talking about how we are on track now for 3 degrees Celsius, when in fact the reality is that if you also account for how we've been increasing our carbon emissions, not decreasing them, not keeping them even at business as usual, but increasing, when you account for those elements, we're more on the lines of a 7-degree increase. If you've attended some of our workshops, at the beginning of our workshops, we do a climate checkup and we show maps of what it looks like for a 5 degree increase in Celsius, degrees, 5 degrees Celsius increase, which is Montreal wiped off the map, Manhattan and most of New York wiped off the map, the ocean, you know, completely flooding Lake Ontario. So there's a lot of things to think about. And it's not just doom and gloom, because what it is here is a throwing the ball back in your court. You know, we give the governments of the world, the big corporations of the world, a chance every year at the COP to do something, and they still haven't been able to even name strategies for mitigation or for phasing out of fossil fuels. So what do we do? Well, we've got to do everything we possibly can in our daily lives to make the shift. And this isn't, you know, as trivial as many people think. There are ways that we can garden that capture and store huge amounts of carbon that are going to prevent flooding, that are going to capture extra rainwater and prevent drought, that are going to hydrate the landscape and prevent wildfires. The fires we see out west are coming. They're coming our way. So designing your landscape to be fireproof, designing your home to be fireproof, designing your soil to be capturing as much carbon as we can every year, choosing agriculture that supports carbon farming practices, regenerative agriculture if you're someone who consumes meat, and for those of us who consume mostly vegetables, looking at farms that are regenerative, that are building soil with cover crops, that are using no-till techniques and technology. There's no excuse anymore for blatant ignorance, for not doing what we can. And every time we go to the store, every time we go to the grocery store, we can choose, you know, finding a farmer's market or supporting a local organic basket or growing as much food as you can at home. And there's so many ways we can do this. There's so many strategies that we can do. I feel that the weakest link that we have today is we're all so busy. We're all working so hard to get the bills paid, to get food in the fridge, to get everyone in bed in time, and to get back at it the next day to keep going. Where when we look at community and we look at how we can support each other by buying more locally, by trading, you know, a surplus of one yield for somebody else's yield or services in-house in our community, we start to reduce the need to earn, and we start to support each other locally. And the more that we do that, the more that we have time to get over the small talk, get over the tiny, you know, little surface layer of communication and community that we have in those few moments a month that we get to see each other. And the more that we do that, the more that we build community resilience, because we actually have a chance to get into deeper topics. When you're with people, when we're talking together about what you're doing, what can be done, different tools, different solutions, all of the problems become easier. The solutions become more obvious. The the steps that we can take together are so much easier and so much more abundant and so much more achievable than they are alone. Alone, we find darkness, we find despair, and we find defeat, which is a pretty easy thing to do, especially going into the darkness of winter. So, anyway, in light of that, in this somber, whatever, eulogy to the failing of COP27, we're hosting our first fireside chat. This one is going to be open to the public because we still, as of yet, have no Patreon subscribers to support us. So the first one is on December 21st, on solstice, on Yule for those of you who celebrate, and it's the beginning of the return of the sun, and let it be the beginning of the return of our community in our local area, or the inspiration or the regrowth of your community, re-strengthening of your community. For those of you who want to join us, there will be a post with a link for a live stream, and it will be kind of a themed AMA, so discussion where we are looking at climate solutions and the issues that people face, the difficulty that people face, the questions that you might have, and we'll do our best to entertain the topic, to answer what we know and can answer, and hopefully other people in the community and that are attending will be able to bring their 2 cents and their answers as well. So join us on December 21st. And if you're a part of the Patreons who end up supporting us, you'll be able to get all those notifications on Patreon, as well as the monthly updates for these fireside chats. And if you're new to this, just join us on the 21st. It'll be the first of these fireside chat series, and this one will be open to the public. All right, well, if you do like this kind of thing, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It really helps us out. Give us a thumbs up, a like, all of that, and let us know in the comments what you feel about the results of this COP. This COP out, another big budget item for not much resolve. And what are you doing at your local scale, and what can you do, and what resources and communities can you connect to? You know, we're connecting with Box of Life to do home scale vermicomposting and urban indoor agriculture and food production. And yeah, you're not going to grow everything you need to survive, but every ounce of food that you grow, it feeds the soul more than the belly, and it links us together and strengthens us and builds us a base to move forward from. So it's about redefining what it means to be human today. It's about redefining how you want to be on this earth today, and redefining what we're going to leave for those who come after us. Join us at p3permaculture.ca. The event link will be up soon for the 21st. Follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on our YouTube channel, and you will get notified when we have our first fireside chat. All right, thanks for your time, and stay strong.